Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to talk to you about why doing what you should do will plateau and potentially even tank your business. I want to talk about what really happens when you're doing all the right things, everything that you should do, but still not getting the results that you want. If you've invested a ton of time and money and energy into the thing that will make you a ton of money, or you found yourself bouncing from one strategy to another. Shiny object syndrome is what they call it. If you've revamped your website or brand every year or two, or you're constantly investing in more products and courses and coaches, you're going to want to listen to this episode. I was the queen of all of this. Every single one of those things and a whole lot more. I was following all the rules, doing everything that the guru said. Publish a book and people will buy it. Get my products on a website and I will make money. Learn how to market and I will get clients. Get a webinar going. Do ads. Make my website prettier, more SEO friendly, user friendly, and people will find me. Post on social media every day. I'll get followers and I'll make money. Do a lead magnet, do ads, and I'll scale my business. I did it all, but my business was failing. So the short answer to why my business was failing, even though I was doing all the right things, is because I was doing for others and not for me. This isn't about being selfish. Hear me out, okay? So I had a problem that everybody has to some degree. I was worried about what other people think. And this was great when I was working for other people. I was super successful working for other people. But it caused failure when it came to running my own businesses or anything else in life that I truly wanted. Because everything I did had to be within the confines of what other people would find accessible. I was super capable as long as it was in service to other people. Now, if you've experienced a lot of trauma or you had controlling parents, this problem is likely bigger for you than it is for the average person. And that's because when you're small, your survival was dependent on other people. And if your parents were controlling, they probably had a lot of fear and likely instilled that fear into you. Or you subconsciously feared that they'd leave or throw you out or withdraw love if you didn't follow the rules, no matter how illogical their rules were. I know my mom had some very illogical rules. Now, if you've experienced trauma, especially if it was repetitive kind of trauma, your job in life became to stay safe and to make sure it never happened again. And if that happened, especially when you were small, you might have developed the tendencies that you stay small, you hide, and you become unnoticed. It could mean that you do everything to make sure everyone around you is happy so that they don't hurt you or leave you to fend for yourself against the types of people that might hurt you again. I know I had a really big wake up call one day. I was in some coaching leadership thing and we were uncovering what our values were. And I thought one of my core values was kindness. I thought that kindness was so important to me, and it was incredibly important for me to be kind. But what I didn't realize was that it wasn't something that was within me that I wanted to do. It was something that I needed to do to stay safe, or so I thought. So my kindness was motivated by trying to stay safe. I mean, of course, there were times when my kindness was just genuine kindness, But a lot of the time, the reason I thought I had to be kind and why it was so important to me is because if I wasn't kind, I had not great things happen to me when I was little. And so I created this pattern that if I'm kind, then I will be safe. If I'm nice to people, then I will be safe. So discovering that was a huge wake up call for me. I started to understand the difference between doing something to build and create something, like build and create relationships, build and create joy, versus trying to prevent something bad from happening to me. And my kindness was mostly about trying to prevent something bad from happening to me. And when you had a lot of trauma or you had controlling parents, a lot of your motivation for the things that you do in life becomes about trying to prevent something bad from happening. I talk about what happened when you were little because the way you learn to operate before the age of 12 forms the foundation of how you operate in the world. So if you felt like you weren't enough or too much or not worthy or not smart enough or ignored or like you were always doing the wrong things as a child, it's almost certain that you subconsciously worry about what others think. So, how do you know when you're caring about what other people think? Now, if you have ever thought to yourself or said to yourself, I should or I shouldn't, or you catch yourself saying about other people or to them that you should or you shouldn't, they should or they shouldn't do this or that, anytime there is a should involved, it is about caring what other people think. It's a sign that you're living in a box of what you should and should not do. And you subconsciously want others to live in the same box. When you're thinking to yourself that they should be doing this and you're finger pointing in your mind or in real life, then you're wanting them to live in the same box that you're forcing yourself to live in. Now, I remember there was this time I go to the park most every day. I sit there for a little while, get my little bit of nature in the city in. And the dogs are not supposed to run on the lawn. There's a dog park, they've got plenty of room to run. And I used to sit there judging the people that would come in the morning and just have their dogs run on the lawn. And not because I didn't want the dogs to run, but because they would tear up the lawn and ruin it for other people. Well, that was me following the rules. In my mind, they should follow the rules because I had to follow the rules, so they needed to too. And I had to always think about how everything I do is going to affect everybody else. And so they should fucking do that too. And so I sat there on the bench, fucking seething and being upset and being mad that these people were not being considerate of other people because I had to live in this box of shoulds. I should think about everybody else before I think about myself. And these people were not doing that. So it drove me crazy that they were not doing what I thought I had to do. But the fact of the matter is, I don't have to do any of that. So for me, following those rules was not about the consequences of what would happen if I put myself first or if I followed the rules of the park. The consequences were who I would be if I didn't follow those rules. And who I would be bad and in danger. I would be not considerate. I would be thought of as terrible. And all those things meant for my subconscious mind that I would be in danger. Now, this problem about caring what other people think is subtle. So mine is extreme. And not everybody's as extreme as mine. At least, God, I hope not. Because I literally couldn't do anything until I had thought about how it affected everybody else around me. And that was how I lived my entire life. But obviously, that's taking up a lot of brain space. But if you're having this on a more subtle level, it's still taking up brain space. And for most people, the problem is subtle. I wasn't even aware of the problem for most of my life. Now, I was sitting in the coffee shop with a friend of mine, and we were talking about the decisions that we make. And we were talking about the fact that 95% of decisions are driven by emotion. And so he took a sip of water. And then I asked, "Why did you do that?" He said his lips were dry. He had to think about it for a second. And he said, "Okay, my lips were dry." And then I said, "Well, why did that matter?" And then he realized that he didn't want anyone to know that his lips were dry. So he took a sip of water. And that moment happened so fast that he wasn't even aware of that decision at all. But in the background of his brain, he was tracking everything and everyone to make sure that he looked a certain way to everybody. And so he took that sip of water before he was even consciously aware that his lips were dry. Now, you're making decisions like this all the time in your business. You switch strategies because you see something else work for somebody else, and you subconsciously don't want to be the one who's doing the wrong thing. So you switch strategies. You revamp your website because someone said one thing about that they didn't like it, or you saw a better one and then you worry that yours might not be good enough. Again, those are driven by emotions, but it's about this fear of what other people will think. So it propels you into action often before you're even aware of it. You might post every day on social media without taking the time to do the deep dive and develop a proper marketing strategy because you know that you need to be posting and you need to look like you're working hard because maybe you were told and brought up that you have to be working hard to be successful. So you need to make sure that you look like you're working hard, and you are. You are working hard. Posting every day on social media is hard work, plus all the other things for your business. But you're not taking the time to do it in a way that's more effective. Perhaps you pivot or second guess what you're doing when someone else, especially if they're more successful or a parent or an authority figure, questions what you do. Now, if you've been at your business for a while and you aren't growing, or you can't even get your business started, I guarantee that worrying about what other people think is playing a role. And the reason this sabotages your business is because the little decisions you make, like taking a sip of water. And it might not seem like a big deal, but those decisions stack up. And again, you're usually not aware of them. Now, you make an average of 35,000 decisions a day. 35,000. And most of them are unconscious and out of your awareness, just like my friend taking a sip of water. If a quarter or a half of those 35,000 decisions are being made because subconsciously, deep inside, you're concerned about how other people see you, that's 25 to 50% of your actions that are moving you in a direction that's not about creating what you're trying to create in the world or your business. It's moving you into this prevention instead of creation mode. And if half of your actions are about other people, you're not focused on what's right for you. You're not focused on what you are trying to build. You're focused on other people. And you can't build something if you're not focused on it. When this happens, when your decisions are being driven by what other people think or might think, because usually it's just stories that you're making up in your head because people don't care as much about what you do as you think that they do. So when that happens, your brain has to be constantly tracking how other people see you. And that's a lot of brain capacity that you could be using on your business. Your second guess decisions about what other people might think. Should decisions always come from a feeling of lack? If you feel like you're missing something, oh, I don't have enough money, I don't have enough time, I should be more worthy, I'm not enough, I'm not smart enough, maybe I'm not fast enough, maybe I need more this, and this. If you feel like you're missing something that you should have, you're going to do something to counteract that lack. It puts you in a survival mode situation where subconsciously you're going to make these short-term decisions to counteract that lack right now. So if I don't have enough knowledge, I might take another course instead of using what you have right now to make things work. When you feel that lack, your brain will come up with very logical reasons to convince you that you need to do the thing that will get rid of the lack, because your brain is focused on survival. And when you feel lack, your brain thinks that you're in danger right now. And most of the time, the lack isn't even a real threat. It's not like it's a saber-toothed tiger running after you. It's not like you're out of food. You've got food in the fridge. Maybe you've been hungry for 5 minutes, but you're not really out of food. And so when you're worried about what other people think, it's that someone might perceive that you're lacking something that you think you should have, and you fear that you might lose something because of that. So it becomes this survival thing. Like, if I'm not good enough, then I'm gonna fail. And if I fail, then I'm gonna be SOL and lose everything. So a third thing when you're concerned about what others think is you fall deeper and deeper out of touch with what's important to you, and you fail to take the steps to get it. Now, many people started their business because they were tired of working for horrible bosses. They were burnt out, trying to conform to what their boss wanted them to do. The problem is, if you were a person who ended up bending who you were to fit in at work, to do all the right things, you're going to do the same things when it comes to business. Sure, you won't have anyone telling you what to do, but you'll avoid the things you need to do to make your business work because you won't lean into what you hated doing for other people. And you'll usually keep chasing new ideas and new strategies to make it work because maybe you needed to be nice like me, no matter what. And I wasn't able to fire a freelancer if they weren't doing a good job. I wasn't even able to give them proper feedback so that they could do a good job. And so being nice, being what I should be, prevented me from being great in my business. And so I would figure out another strategy to try and figure out how to make it work. Maybe I would do that freelance work by myself, which I did a lot. Uh, or I would hire somebody else and then I would waste more money. But these things ultimately, they didn't work. They caused my business to suffer because deep down I was worried about what other people think. So when you're chasing new ideas and new strategies to try and make things work, often it's because you don't want to do that thing that maybe you didn't like doing at another job, or it goes against what you quote should be. So maybe you don't have those difficult conversations. Maybe you don't fire that shit client, or you might be on the other end of the spectrum and be a tyrant instead of a good leader. But I want to leave you with a tool here that you can take with you so that you can figure out whether you're moving from this place of I'm making my decisions from what other people think, or if you're making the decisions that are right for you. So first we have to figure out where you're at. So close your eyes, everyone. Take this moment. Unless you're driving, of course. Don't do it if you're driving. Close your eyes, and I want you to think about yourself. Think about you. And just notice when you think about you, are you outside of yourself looking at yourself? Or are you inside of yourself looking through your own eyes? Now, if you're like most people, you are outside of yourself looking at you. And that's a strong indication that you're concerned about what other people think. Now, close your eyes again and think about a time that you were fully engrossed in a moment. Like it was maybe you were looking at a sunset or a waterfall, something that was so beautiful or awe-striking that it took your breath away. And it was like the whole world disappeared. It's like almost like you didn't even exist, but in a good way, not like in the invisible, nobody notices me way, but in the way where it's like, wow, I'm just so in this moment. And just look at that moment, find one. Hopefully you can find one and go back and notice. Are you outside of yourself looking at yourself, or are you inside yourself looking through your own eyes? Now, likely, if you were able to find one of those moments, you were inside yourself looking through your own eyes. When you're inside yourself looking through your own eyes, you're not thinking about what other people think. When you're outside yourself looking at yourself, you're looking at yourself through everybody else's eyes. And you're thinking about what other people think. So the more you can practice being inside yourself, looking through your own eyes, the more you will be able to move and make your decisions from a place of not caring about what other people think. And I'm not talking about swinging to one side where you're harming other people. I'm just talking about doing what's right for you in a way that is balanced and harmonious in the world. So use that tool, practice it. If you're going for a walk, practice what it's like to be inside your own body, looking through your own eyes, instead of outside yourself, looking at yourself. If you have anxiety, this is going to be a great tool. The more you can become familiar with that feeling, the more calm you will be when you step into it. So use the tool, use it a lot, make it become your natural state of being. And notice what are the things that pop you out of that feeling, pop you out of your body, making you look at yourself through other people's eyes. Just notice. And those are the things that are, quote, triggering to you that you want to work on. So there you have it, a really great tool to combat this problem that everybody has. And the more you overcome this problem, I promise you will have better success in your business. You'll be able to do the things that are hard because you're not going to be so worried about if you mess up, what are other people going to think? If you can overcome this, I guarantee you your business will improve. Now, I have another guide out there for you that you can grab, the 3 secrets the business gurus never talk about. I have another very useful tool in that guide that you can grab at BeTheWolfGift.com. So go ahead, open up your browsers now, type in BeTheWolfGift.com and grab that. And all the other things that I put out for you that are good in the world. So thank you all for listening. And remember, when you unleash the power of you, humanity evolves. We'll see you next time on Be the Wolf. Bye, everyone.